Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome to Eagles Pregame Live. Today, we are breaking down our top expectations, players to watch, and more of the Eagles versus Dolphins Week 3 preseason matchup. Joining me, my man LJ. What's going on, dude?
Hey, what's going on, Chris? How are you, man? I know you're. I know you got COVID right now, so we're gonna do our best to get through this.
Yeah, somehow I tested positive with no symptoms at work last Thursday. But here we are. I'm feeling fine. I'm a little congested.
That's all that matters.
I'm congested. I'm fine. It just sucks, you know. But yeah, we got to start off with some big news. Some big news just dropped just as we went live because the Eagles have another team's first-round pick this year. And just now, Ian Rappaport announced that Saints first-round offensive tackle Trevor Penning suffered a torn ligament in his foot, will need surgery, out indefinitely. And then David Chow, who loves to chime in on these things, says he likely will be out for the season. The Eagles have the Saints first-round pick this season or in next year's draft. Man, what's your reaction?
I mean, that's big coming from the Saints' perspective. While he may not have been a starter right off the bat, he was going to eventually be the starter for them at left tackle, I guess.
Yep.
So it's big protection-wise. But we're talking about a Saints team that, you lost Sean Payton, maybe the best play caller in the NFL. Dennis Allen's now their head coach, and what do we really know about him as the head coach? And then if you think about it, no Drew Brees, so Jameis Winston is the starter. Alvin Kamara has his legal issues, which, that might not even get sorted out this year, so he could potentially play the entire year. But still, that's a lingering thing that's going to be over his head, over the team's head. Malcolm Jenkins retired in the secondary. Yeah, they signed Tyrann Mathieu, who I like a lot. But, there's a lot of moving pieces going on with the New Orleans Saints. And as an Eagles fan, we obviously don't want them to do well. And there's a lot of – I feel like there's no in-between when it comes to the Saints. Either people think they're going to be really bad or people think they're going to win that division somehow, which I know there's very few people that think that. But it's going to be interesting to see how things play out for the Saints. I mean, that news for Penning is big because you want to have that bookend. You want to have that guy that can protect your quarterback. And we all know Jameis Winston has coming off of his own injury. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes and how they, the depth on that offensive line with the Saints is definitely going to be tested come week 1.
Yeah, this is an offensive line that was hurt a lot last year. This is an offensive line whose performance without Drew Brees declined significantly. You look at this offensive line, they clearly were intending to use Trevor Penning as that sixth guy that can jump in and jumbo packages and be an impact guy for them this year. Now they're tested. That offensive tackle position is thin. And like you said with Jameis Winston, man, woo, things are going to get really interesting with that.
When it comes to Winston, he was a former number 1 overall pick, and he has had moments, both positive and negative. You just don't know what type of player you're going to get for a coaching staff. You're not having Sean Payton draw up the plays for you anymore. When you have that guy that, as I mentioned before, probably the best play caller in the NFL, you have your advantages with that. Lombardi, I think, is the offensive coordinator, if I'm not mistaken, for the Saints. He'll be calling plays, and while he's coached under Payton, it's still not the same because Sean Payton sees the game differently than 99% of the coaches on that offensive side of the ball. So it will definitely be interesting to see how Dennis Allen, Lombardi, Jameis Winston, and look, they have weapons on the offensive side of the ball. Michael Thomas, Chris Olave, Alvin Kamara. They should, in theory, be able to put up points, but we don't know how that combination of coaches and players is going to do it.
Man, I'm already excited. And like you said, there's a lot of Saints fans out there that think this team is going to go really far this year. And I just don't see it. I do not see it whatsoever.
I mean, think it with having, and again, it helped the Eagles last year with having that third wild card. Having the third wild card, it'll help teams like the Saints think that they have a shot and they're going to be able to extend their season into the postseason. It happened for the Eagles last year, but I just don't know with all that, as we mentioned, all the combination of things that are happening with the Saints, if it's going to be their year, which obviously we want them to be as bad as possible, get us a top 5 pick, could help us depending on what happens in our quarterback situation. You know, if Jalen proves that he can be the franchise guy, you don't have to trade 2 first-round picks for a quarterback. You can go get the best player available. You can get a Will Anderson or whatever, depending on where you're at. Or you can get a Malachi Moore or get a safety that we desperately need right now. Or get a cornerback that could take – because I love Slay and I love Bradbury. I don't know if both of them are going to be back next year. One is going to be back for sure. I don't know which one. I mean, I would love for both if Bradbury could prove to be the Carolina Bradbury. But, you know, you still need to be able to get young guys to be able to back them up because Slay and Bradbury aren't going to play forever.
Yep. Eli Ricks is legit. Keely Ringo is legit. I'm looking on that defensive line, man.
Like I'm looking at Georgia and Alabama.
Yeah,
exactly. Those defensive guys coming out.
Will Anderson, Jalen Carter, Miles Murphy out of Clemson is terrific. Got Brian Breesy. Like the defensive line prospects are legit this year, especially in the top 15. Love them. So, but let's roll on here and talk Eagles versus Dolphins. We're expecting not a lot of players to play, obviously. You won last week. No starters played. That was the right decision to be made. Absolutely. But I'll throw it to you, man. What are your expectations for today, and who are some players that are on your radar?
Get out of this game healthy.
Yes.
They were supposed to have 2 practices with the Dolphins. Only had 1 because the Dolphins had a mysterious outbreak of some sort, stomach bug, and they didn't get to practice on Thursday together. Look, Jalen Hurts. Obviously, I don't want to see Jalen or Gardner Minshew. They both sit on the bench. This should be. I mean, we saw Carson Strong for 5 plays last week, and he threw the ball once and it didn't look that good. I mean, there are reports that the Eagles really, really, really like Reed Sinnett. And the reason why it's been Sinnett and not Strong is because they want to see what he got so that they could try to get him onto the practice squad if they don't keep 3 on the active roster, which is just shocking because they gave the most money of any of the undrafted free agents this year went to Carson Strong. So if you felt that much about him pre-camp, like a lot must have changed. Maybe he's not the player that they thought and the player that a lot of teams may have thought, because if he gets cut, somebody's going to pick him up, put him on the practice squad, and give him a chance. Just like E.J. Perry with Jack, when it was reported the Eagles had signed him, but then Strong decided to come, they let him go, and he went to Jacksonville. But yeah, I want to see some of Carson Strong. I don't expect him to be on the active roster, but I just want to see what he has. Your boy Reed Blankenship. Let's see what he has in the secondary. You have to find some depth guys. You have to find some special teams guys, and we'll see if he has a chance to be one of those guys. We kind of probably have an idea of who, let's say the 30 to probably, about 40 to 45 are like definitely guaranteed on this roster. Mm. But what do they do with Jalen Reagor? What do they do with Andre Dillard? What do they, do with Derek Barnett? Like, Derek Barnett hasn't really played that much. Does that mean he's guaranteed a spot, or they already know what they have and they just want other guys to prove that they can outplay him? Josh Jobe, I think, has made the team. Josh Jobe has been really good for this roster. I thought I thought it would come down. I thought both Goodrich and Jobe had a chance to make it, but I thought Goodrich was above Jobe. Eagles see it differently. They see Jobe above Goodrich. That's perfectly fine. So we'll definitely see what happens. There's just some Josh Jobe right here. Yeah, Josh Jobe just seems to be around the football. And I think I mentioned it last week, when you're playing at Alabama and you have Pat Surtain and those legit number 1 corners across from you, you're going to be tested by other teams. He's used to it. He's gotten tested a lot, and he has prevailed. So, like I said, I want to see Strong. I want to see Blankenship. And then the big thing is health. Get out of this game healthy. We're 2 weeks away from the start of the regular season. I don't want anything that can derail this, at least the start of the season.
Yeah. We have a comment. Mallory says, I like the safety out of Notre Dame, Brandon Joseph. I did rankings of the top safeties in the 2023 class. Brandon Joseph was my number 1 safety in the class, by far the best coverage safety, and I absolutely love him. He's going to have a monster year. He's not quite Kyle Hamilton, who I absolutely loved, but he's a legit talent for sure.
Did he play with Hamilton last year?
No, so he came from Northwestern. He was a transfer out of Northwestern, and Northwestern had a bad year, but Brandon Joseph did play well. So he's a transfer. So that's going to be an interesting setup for him. Notre Dame has a handful of really top-notch talent, like Isaiah Foskey, who is another
I can't stand Notre Dame.
Okay, he's probably a top 20 pick. Isaiah Foskey, 6'5", just a beast. They also have arguably the top tight end in college football. They have one of the best centers in college football. They're going to be
a center. That's
the Eagles do not need a center. I don't
want to see Juergens out there either. He should not play today.
Juergens and Davis sit. Now, do you agree Juergens and Davis should both sit today, right?
Yes, and I think I guess another play. I want to see Nakobe Dean. The defense did not play well last week. Jordan Davis got double and triple teamed, and while that's what we expect, we didn't really see much from him. Nakobe Dean seemed to be around the ball, but he seemed to be a step too late here and there. But I would love to see Nakobe Dean, but maybe get a series or two. We need to keep his instincts sharp because he will be a key factor in this defense this year.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see. Here's some Dean highlights against the Jets and the Browns that I'm going to be putting it all together once tonight's game wraps up. So these are all Nakobe Dean tackles. So for me, Nakobe Dean's really interesting. He had I thought a really strong debut against the Jets. A really sluggish game with pretty much everyone else on the defense against the Browns. So you look at this Miami Dolphins team, they're not running the ball on everyone. I want to see the Eagles run defense kind of get their swag back against Miami. I know it's preseason game 3. It means absolutely nothing, but Miami's averaging absolutely under 2 yards a carry this preseason. This Eagles defense needs to show me a little something more, and that starts with Nakobe Dean. So I do think I want to see Nakobe Dean out there, at least just for a series or two, just to get, like you said, his feel. Nakobe Dean's biggest asset is his instincts and his feel, and we saw that against the Jets. It didn't happen so much against the Browns, but you look at Davion Taylor, you look at the depth there, it was really bad, pretty much across the board. The defensive line was just getting chewed up by play action, misdirection plays. It was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. So we're both on the same page with Nakobe Dean. We both agree Josh Jobe probably is a lock. Do you think Quez Watkins will get some time in this game?
If he does, it'll be a series. But I think our top 4 receivers, and it's tough because you can't sit everybody. But I think our top 4 receivers are locks. A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Quez, and Zach Pascal are locks. It's beyond that. What do they do? We should see a lot of Jalen Reagor, Britton Covey, John Hightower, even though he's got no shot at making the team. Devin Allen, I know he had that big play last week, and while I don't think he has a chance to make the team, he could maybe create a spot on the practice squad for him if somebody doesn't take him. So I think again, you can't sit everybody. So Quez and Zach will probably play, but give them a series, get them out the game. They got to be healthy in 2 weeks. But then we'll see the Devin Allens, Britton Covey's, Jalen Reagor, see those guys out on the field. And when it comes to Covey, while we want the big thing is him being the kickoff, probably the special teams guy, a return guy. I need to see some separation. He hasn't at all in any of these games when given the chance to be out there playing receiver, hasn't gotten any separation. I know he's not playing with the best, quarterback, and the best offensive line's not out there, but show me something, get some separation, prove that you can get open, show your numbers to the quarterback so that they can get you the ball and see what you can do in open space.
Yeah. I think the wide receiver battle to watch, I'm not even looking at Deion King. I'm looking at Britton Covey.
Deion Kane should be on this team.
I agree.
Deion Kane was so good last year.
Yeah. God, if a miracle happens and they're able to get Jalen Reagor off this roster, and you just you add in a guy like Deion Kane, who has clearly great hands, I'm all in with that one. But I think the wide receiver battle right now is Britton Covey versus Devin Allen, and I'd probably agree. Neither are going to make this roster.
So that battle is not for a roster spot. That battle would be for a practice squad spot.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with that.
All right. So that's something you brought up. My boy Reed Blankenship. Let me throw in some highlights here. of Reed Blankenship, who's really turned some heads. He's got he plays with great confidence. He has great poise at the position. Here are some highlights against the Jets and the Browns. He had 8 tackles against the Jets. He had 4 against the Browns. He's got good size. He's pretty good athleticism. Like I said, really good confidence. He's definitely going to be an impact guy on special teams. I think if this guy plays well, I think I personally would put this guy over some of the other veterans at this spot because I thought he's earned it. He hasn't really played much with the first team. He's been kind of the third team and second stringers. But what's your thoughts on Reed Blankenship and his potential today and what it means for him moving forward?
Well, he's going to get a lot of playing time today. I mean, for the safety position, it's Epps, it's Harris. Tart, I know you're not high on Tart, but I feel like they brought him in and he hasn't really played well. And he when they had that one injury, I forget who got hurt. Josiah Scott, I think, got hurt last week. And Tart went into the game, which was kind of a shocker to me because Tart was playing late in the second half. That's usually for guys that are battling for roster positions. So maybe Tart isn't a lock to make the team. Blankenship is younger, probably faster, and can make more of an impact on special teams. This is where we'll see the battle between Blankenship, Kevon Wallace, Andre Chichère. There's a bunch of guys that potentially could make the roster with really good games tonight.
I agree. Yeah, that Andre Chichère, this is a little crock pot. Probably shouldn't be hanging
out. What's her Eagles take?
What's her Eagles take? She is all about the food that I'll be serving come game time, which will be I've got some ribs in the smoker right now.
I saw that looked good.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome, man. Gonna be awesome. We got them marinated, and I got them with they're braising right now with some brown sugar, some spicy honey, and some apple juice. So they're gonna be legit. They're gonna be absolutely legit. I can't wait. So they'll be ready 6:30. But Andre Chichère, that guy has also played really, really well. That's another guy that's on the bubble that I think everyone should be watching today. It's pretty much my same stance on Reed Blankenship. He's earning it. He's made some plays against the Jets and the Browns. I think he's versatile enough. I like his potential on nickel situations. I'm just so out on Jaquiski Tartt. That guy, him, Anthony Harris, none of those guys really do anything for me. So that's pretty much it. Let's move on to a guy that I hope we see today for the first time, and that is Grant Calcaterra. Do you think we get our first Calcaterra experience against?
We have to see something. He didn't play the first 2 games, and he had was it a concussion or was it something else that he had? Because if it's a concussion, if it I don't know if it was a concussion, but if it was, that's an issue because he had to retire from college football when he was at Oklahoma because of concussion issues. And they drafted him with the anticipation of him potentially being the second tight end behind Dallas Goedert. So we need to see something from him. He needs to get out onto the field. He needs to prove that he can block. He needs to prove that he can catch and run with the football. And I get it. It's going to be against the Dolphins' 4th stringers and guys that aren't going to be on the roster. But just getting out on the football field for Calcaterra could be a win. And then we get to see some tape and see what he can do. But, again, I don't know off the top of my head if it was a hamstring or if it was a concussion, whatever it may be. But if it was a concussion, that's a worry because of what he dealt with in the past. But it would be nice to see him.
Mallory says, agree, we are hurting in the tight end position. Yeah, it'll be interesting. If Calcaterra doesn't play, he's a lock to make the roster. I think if Nakobe Dean doesn't play, he's a lock. He's going to play, I think, more minutes than we expect on this roster. Who else are we missing? Are we missing anybody else here that we want to see today?
I don't think so. I'll go back to the guys that could be trade possibilities: Andre Dillard and Jalen Reagor, just because, especially with, and again, I don't expect if Jerry called Howie and said, "Hey, can we get Dillard from you?" I'm asking for a 1st-round pick. I'm not helping an in-team division, a team in my division at a crucial position with somebody that was a 1st-rounder who, while he hasn't lived up to expectations, has that possibility. So, like, there's teams out there that need help at offensive line. Like a lot of people have said, the Eagles' second offensive line is better than some teams' starting offensive lines. And Andre Dillard is a part of that. And it'd be tough to give up Dillard because a backup left tackle is crucial. Because, Mailata did get hurt last year. Mailata had a concussion earlier, in training camp. And behind Dillard, it's LaRaven Clark. Like, I trust Dillard over LaRaven Clark. And I think Dillard has had a really good camp, and kind of maybe he's starting to figure it out now. Like, that was a lot of pressure in his first couple of years being a first-round pick. The Eagles trading up ahead of Houston to get him, and then he tries. They want him to play the right, and that obviously it was a failed experiment. Lasted all of one half. So we'll see what happens. But Dillard, and then when it comes, Dillard could really help himself and help the Eagles maybe if they were going to trade him. And when it comes to Jalen Reagor, again, there's teams out there that have supposedly been calling. So you need to go out there and show that you still have speed, show that you got separation, and show that you can help another football team if you're not going to help the Philadelphia Eagles. Love
it. Mallory says Carson Strong. We already kind of touched on Carson. We both are hoping we get at least a half. I want a lot of Carson Strong.
I want a full game of Carson.
Why not? Like, what do you got to lose? I guess maybe a practice squad spot. Maybe he plays really well and he gets picked up.
That's fine. Like, if they like Reed Sinnett, but like say others like Carson Strong, we know what we've seen in Reed Sinnett. If you play Carson Strong and he's good and you release them both, whichever one doesn't get picked up will be on the practice squad. I don't foresee both of them getting picked up. Look, come Tuesday at 4:00, 864 players are going to be cut around the NFL. Then you have the 16 practice squad players, per team. There'll be players that you can, another quarterback, if it's not one of them two, that you can put onto the practice squad. Yeah. Who hopefully you don't need. Let's be real. Hopefully we don't need them.
Yeah. Dave McNulty's in the house saying, "What's up, guys? We're good, man. Preseason's wrapping up today. I'm just so happy that it's almost over, and the Eagles are looking pretty healthy. You look at the Dallas Cowboys. Tyron Smith is out for the year. Michael Gallup, I think it's James Washington, are both banged up. When you go to the Washington Commanders, Chase Young is out for the first 4 games. Kayvon Thibodeau is out for 3 to 4 weeks. And I'm pretty sure the Giants are also missing someone, a wide receiver. I think John Collins, I think that's his name. I could be wrong.
It was one of their rookie receivers. Yeah, he's out. Towards ACL or something.
Edge of Philly Sports says, let's get this season started. You look at across the division, there are injuries everywhere. Get, like my man LJ said at the start of today's show, get out of today healthy and let's go. That's really the name of the game because, I mean, like we talked about, Jordan Davis, Cam Jurgens, some of these guys, they better not be sniffing the field. I don't even want them close to the field. Just keep them in the locker room, put bubble wrap on these guys. Right? And just
you don't want somebody falling out of bounds, rolling into Jalen Hurts.
No,
we don't want any of that. Like the Tyron Smith injury at Dallas's practice, it was a non-contact. They ran a play, he was running upfield and just fell. And the same thing happened to Zach Wilson in the first preseason game. He made a cut. It was a non-contact, and while it wasn't his ACL, it was still meniscus. It was still anything can happen. They could walk out the locker room and trip or something. We definitely do not want that to happen. So, like you said, keep all the guys that we know who are going to be the starters, the guys that are going to have big impacts on this season. Keep them as far away from the field as possible.
Yep. Mitch Kofsky's in the house. Go check out his YouTube channel. It's amazing. He's in the house. What's up, Mitch? Just stay healthy as possible. I guess who's your player of the game today? Who do you want to see have a huge game?
That's a good question. I want Carson Strong just because I just want to see what he got. Like I said, play him the entire game. I don't care. Just play him and don't hand it off 78 straight times. Let him. I know he's going to be throwing to Britton Covey and Devin Allen. I want to. All the talk when they signed him as an UDFA was he has a strong arm. Well, let's see it. I think Carson Strong has a chance to have a big game for the Eagles. You're on mute. I think you're on mute there.
My bad. Go play. All right. She's getting a little on me. All right. What do we think about the NFC East rivals preseason from week 1 to week 2? Any thoughts on that? I mean, we just said it. Like you have guys left and right getting hurt, getting injured. That's just really, really, for me at least, just stay healthy, man.
Yeah. As you can see, the tears rolling down my eyes for the other teams in the division that they're hurt. I don't care. Let them keep going out there and having these extra hard practices and keep losing guys. Like we said, the main key for this week is staying healthy. The Eagles have the healthiest team in the division as of right now. Do they have the best team in the division? Probably not. But who cares? Like,
yeah.
If they can stay healthy, I mean, I'll take Nick Sirianni. I mean, the only coach in the division that I may take over Nick Sirianni would be Ron Rivera. I don't know, like Brian Dable in New York. This is his first time. We don't know. Mike McCarthy is awful. Like he cost Aaron Rodgers a couple Super Bowls. So like, if Nick Sirianni might be the best coach in the division, it's year 2, and nobody wanted him to be the coach coming into when the Eagles hired him last year.
I know,
so
right?
All the Eagles have to do is be coached properly or be coached really, really well, be smart, not, put the players, and something Andy Reid used to say, so it's my job to put the players in their best position. So it's what it comes down to, and don't take Detroit, while you beat Detroit 44-6 last year, it's going to be a totally different game week 1 this year. So if the Eagles are able to come out and do what they do best, we shouldn't have an issue week 1. I'm not looking past, like, obviously, the home openers, the Monday nighter, the week after. You don't want to look past that. You have to go into Detroit, watch Hard Knocks, and see all the fake Dan Campbell crap that he's spewing on Hard Knocks, and go out there and punch them in the mouth like he did last year.
Absolutely. Let's see if this works still. Any luck? Yeah, we're still relatively back. Oh, my daughter's going nuts. All right, here we go. Yeah, I was muted. Mallory says, hopefully somebody can make an impact in the return game. I think low-key storyline. Like, who is the number 1 returner on the Eagles right now?
I think Jason Huntley.
Yeah.
I would rather him back there than Covey right now.
I agree with that. I agree, but like, do you think Huntley makes?
I don't know if they keep 4 running back. Well, they might because of Miles Sanders. He can never stay healthy. He still has a hamstring injury. Does he have the longest hamstring injury in the history of sports? Like, well, no, that's James Harden. But like, come on now.
How about Kennedy Brooks? Do we think we didn't talk about Kenny Gainwell at all, who got his first time. Do you think he plays any snaps in this game?
If he does, it'll be a series, but I wouldn't put him out there either.
Yeah,
again, they only have 5 running backs on the roster, so somebody's got to play. We know Miles isn't going to play. If Boston and Kenny play, it'll be maybe a series or 2 each. Then you go with Kennedy Brooks and Jason Huntley. I mean, again, Brooks, I had him making my pre-training camp roster. I had Brooks on it, but I haven't seen anything from him, and I maybe they're going to stash him on the practice squad. Who knows? But yeah. I would like to see something from Kennedy Brooks.
Yeah, obviously a lot of people like just that style, that running style of Kennedy Brooks compared to the other running backs on this roster, but I don't think he makes it. I don't think he makes the roster. I think add someone. They're just playing the waiting game right now.
They're definitely going to add either a running back or safety.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's going to be like week 1. It could be down the road. What sports team do you hate the most? The Cowgirls or the Yankees?
I'll give you my top 2. The Cowboys, the 76ers.
Wow! Shots fired. What's the deal with the Sixers?
I've never been a Sixers fan. Never. I like all the other Philly teams. What?
You hate the Sixers?
Oh, hate them. Like, it's the Cowboys and then the Sixers. That's how much I hate them.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely the Cowboys. They're definitely number one. I don't really necessarily hate the Giants or the Commanders as much anymore. I mean, you go back like 4 years, my response would probably be a little different, but I don't really
I
care.
think when it comes to the Cowboys, it's more of their fans in this area.
Yeah.
Because
I hate the Boston Celtics. I hate the Boston Celtics and their fans with a passion. The Miami Heat fans, I hate them so much. They're just nauseating. I mean, the Pittsburgh Penguins were up there really high.
New York Mets fans.
Mets fans are obnoxious.
I don't really have a hate for the Yankees, but that's maybe because we don't play. Like, if we were the Red Sox fans, like we would hate them. But there's really no need to hate the Yankees for us, I guess, as Phillies fans.
Yep. Nikki says week 3, just looking to stay healthy. No pre-snap penalties. Yeah, I would like to see
You'll see more of that. I think you'll see more pre-snap penalties in this game than you have in other games, only because it's going to be a random 5 guys out there playing on the offensive line with the quarterback's voice you really don't that you haven't played with in Carson Strong. So there'll probably be more pre-snap penalties today than in other games. Nikki
says she traded away Miles Sanders in her dynasty league. It's a good call. I've been pounding the Kenny Gainwell train table for a long time. I'm excited about Gainwell. I think he's going to have a really good year. Hold up. You hate the Sixers. Cancel this man. Oh, do you hate Iverson?
Oh, I hate him. Never been an Iverson fan. He's the main reason why I hate the Sixers.
Interesting.
And then when he left, I tried to like him, but I didn't like Iguodala. And then I can't stand Embiid, and I hate Ben Simmons, and I'm not a bit James Harden fan. So like they just have they have an unlikable team.
Could the Eagles make a move for Chuck Clark from the Ravens? I have to look up who that is, to be honest.
He's the safety who the Eagles and Ravens were actually talking Jalen Reagor for Chuck Clark during the draft. It just never materialized. But now Clark, who had anticipated being traded, said he's all in with Baltimore. Okay. I don't know if that's just fodder, but it could potentially happen. I mean, you have Kyle Hamilton. You have who's the safety that they signed from? Was it from the Saints that they signed him from? They have the other safety. I don't remember.
I'm not really sure.
I think he was with the Saints last year. So they do like Clark is the third safety for them right now. So it could potentially happen. And I mean, you have Harbaugh who has, Philly ties, so maybe he'll help us out.
Yeah. I'm a Red Sox and Eagles fan. I think when I went to Boston for a Phillies Red Sox game, I think Red Sox fans and us, we got along pretty well for our general hatred for the Yankees. It was pretty awesome. It was pretty great. All right. He hates the Eagles, the Red Sox, the Astros, the New York Rangers, the LA Lakers, and the Toronto Raptors.
So who are you a fan of then?
Yeah.
You have to be like a Cowboys fan, a Yankees fan.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It's got to be.
I'm trying to.
You have to be a Yankees fan. It's got to be a Yankees fan. Wait, what's on that hat? What do you see in that hat? Yeah, that's a New York Giants hat.
Oh, okay. So a Giants fan.
So he's a New York fan. Yeah. All right. That makes sense. Did you guys see the Odell Beckham tweet on Twitter? He said he's thinking about coming back to play for the Giants. I did not.
I think he's going to wait. Like, obviously, coming off of the ACL, he's going to wait and go back to a contender that needs a receiver. And the Giants are not going to be a contender this year.
Yeah.
I don't know when they'll be a contender. Like, they need a new quarterback. Daniel Jones is not it. But I think he's going to wait and see, and then go and try to be with a contender, which is smart on him. I guess it helps coming back from the ACL injury. How the heck did we get on this talk of teams
I don't know. I've just been following the comments while my daughter's wrecking havoc behind the scenes. But anyway, that pretty much wraps this up. I got nothing. We touched on Kennedy Brooks. Like I said, I want us healthy. I want to see the Eagles run defense kind of show some signs of life. The Dolphins have a combined 86 rushing yards on 32 attempts in the preseason. Their O-line was one of the NFL worst in 2021. I want to see the Eagles' defensive line and run defense play better. I want to see better in week 3 of the preseason.
There's one other guy I do want to see. I want to see Kyron Johnson. Haven't really seen much from Kyron Johnson, and they drafted him kind of to be the mentee the mentee, I guess would be the word to Hassan Reddick. So I want to see Johnson get out there, get after the quarterback. Whoever's going to play quarterback for the Dolphins, it ain't going to be Tua, but whoever it is, just like you said, abuse that offensive line. Don't get gashed in the run game, and see if you can put some pressure out there.
So he is a Yankees fan. He's a Sixers fan, a Devils, and a Giants fan. There you go.
How are you a Sixers fan with that group? Okay.
All right. So, final thoughts, and let's wrap this up. We'll be doing a post-game show right when the clock hits 0, talking about position battles, who is in, who is out, player of the game, all that kind of fun stuff, man. Plug time. You're up.
All right. Well, first, when it comes to the game, stay healthy. The key from this entire show has been get out of this game healthy, no injuries, nobody falling out of bounds, rolling into Jalen Hurts or A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith. I don't need any of that. Keep Jordan Davis off the field. Keep Cam Jurgens off the field. Nakobe Dean, maybe a series. But keep all these guys off the field. Get them healthy for 15 days from now in Detroit. I'll be back on the air on Tuesday at 6:15 with my co-host Connor Donald over for the Kelly Green Hour. We are going to have our post 53-man roster kind of breakdown and maybe see what moves the Eagles can make beyond that, because whatever the 53-man looks like at 4 o'clock Tuesday, it's going to be different come September 11th, 1 o'clock in Detroit.
I agree. Yeah. Guys, thank you everyone for watching. The comments were awesome. Mallory, fly Eagles fly, go Birds. Thank you for joining our show today. We got derailed here.
A little bit.
But it's okay.
It's
what
the
else?
Third week of the preseason. It happened.
Not much else to talk about. We've been talking about it ad nauseum for a week. Feels like almost a year. But anyway, again, please be sure to smash that subscribe button. Hit the like button if you love the NFL, the preseason, Jalen Carter, Will Anderson. Thank you, New Orleans Saints. No, I'm just guys, we will see you on the post-game show. I have a ton of preseason highlight reels ready to drop as soon as this game wraps up on all the top Eagles players as well. So those will be coming. And on Monday night, Party on Broad, me and Rob will be doing the same kind of thing, projecting the Eagles roster, the 53-man roster, all that kind of stuff. So thank you again for watching. For my man LJ, for myself, stay awesome, everyone, and go Birds.